Hello! It was actually so lovely. How many people I know in real life reached out to me yesterday about the video I posted. So, even though TikTok's back, I'm back too. Here I am, ready to post on YouTube frequently. Today, I'm talking about the top 5 books that I read in 2024. These are in order of how much I love them. So, starting at the final place, number 5, Cards on the Table by Agatha Christie. Cards on the Table is a Poirot novel. If you're unfamiliar, Agatha has several fictional detectives, one of which, probably her best-selling, is Hercule Poirot. He is amazing. He is bald, short, funny little man. He is Belgian. He has mustaches, as she describes them, 1 and 2. This is one of his mysteries, but what makes this stand out from the other Poirot books that I read this year is how funny this novel is. Now let me tell you something about Agatha, okay? She's an amazing murder mystery author. Every single mystery, from her best-selling titles to a random one I happened to pick up, every single time without fail, I'm shocked. She gets me. Even at that juicy 75% of the way through when I'm like, oh, I figured it out, haha. No, she always manages to flip the script, to have some crazy plot twist. She's just absolutely incredible at that. Now, when she has tried other genres within her murder mysteries, she'll introduce like a romantic subplot. Typically when she tries other genres, I note those scenes as being perhaps weaker than how tight she is at writing mysteries. However, in this book, I would say that she was dabbling with a new genre, with comedy, and it 100% works. There were several points where I was laughing out loud. Now, I don't want to go too much into the details. I want you to be surprised if you try to read this. But I will say it is called Cards on the Table because someone is murdered during a game of bridge. Sounds hilarious. No. But where it gets really funny is, in particular, there is this woman who is just a murder mystery novelist who thinks of herself as a detective. And she was the one who really had me laughing out loud. It's especially funny because I think I lacked the context to know whether or not Agatha Christie was making fun of herself or whether she was maybe making fun of how her haters perceive her as this stupid novelist they're rolling their eyes at. I don't know. I mean, she was very successful in her lifetime, so I don't know exactly what the angle of the joke was, but either way, that character was so good, and that is why this book is number 5. Okay, number 4, Gideon the Ninth by Tasman Muir. This book is a science fiction with some blend of sort of fantasy elements, and the way I just described that, I feel, is a perfect example of how this book is so unique. It's very dense with a lot of world building and really fantastic writing, but it's also so unlike anything I've ever read, which makes it very hard to describe. I guess to give you a little bit of premise, the main character is... what the hell's her name? The main character is named Gideon. She is a ripped, buff lesbian who reads dirty magazines. The way she talks is very much like casual modern day talk, and she kind of is a bodyguard for this small angry lesbian necromancer, and the story, it just grows from there. It's very hard to describe all the different houses and planets and all the sort of political stuff going on. You are truly dropped in the middle of the story But that's what makes it amazing too. It really is a fantastic read. Number 3, The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. When I was reading this book, I was like, oh my god, I found my new favorite book of all time. Truly, in the first half of this novel, it was completely perfect to me. It's an adult romance book about childhood friends to lovers who have now broken up, and without realizing it, they go on this same guided tour of Europe. There is so much description of the wine tastings and the food and the locations. It's such a rich, beautiful book. Their romance is fantastic. It's also very funny. Now, why it's number 3 and not number 1? This is one of the most, controversial things in romance, in romance circles, miscommunication. Love it or hate it, I don't mind it. And in fact, it can sometimes, I think if it's leaning more toward comedy, I think it can be very fun, like a farce. However, the miscommunication in The Pairing is so frustrating that what was once my favorite book dropped to 3. And that is how annoyed I was by that central to the plot miscommunication, that truly, if they had just communicated, it would have been fine, and that was too much. But overall, it's a fantastic exploration of gender, which I haven't read many romances with that throughout, spoilers, but throughout the course of the book, the girl love interest comes out as non-binary halfway through, and the way they explore that and the sex scenes, it's just so fantastic. I would definitely recommend it. Number 2, A Swim in the Pond in the Rain by George Saunders. It is a nonfiction book about writing. George Saunders, I guess he's like a famous author. I've never read his stuff, but he's also a creative writing professor. And he essentially, with this book, every chapter begins with a Russian short story by Tolstoy, by Chekhov, by someone. Every chapter starts with that short story, and then the rest of the chapter is George Saunders kind of walking you through that story about what he might say about it if he was doing a lecture in, as a professor. It was fantastic. I think the piece of writing advice that stuck out to me the most was a story doesn't need a moral or a lesson. It can be a conversation. And the way that George describes it and ties it into, I think the story's called Dingleberries by Chekhov. The way it's all done, it was just so good, so earth-shattering good. My number 1 best book of the year was Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. The reason I picked it up was I saw all of these negative social media posts when it was announced that the new Wuthering Heights movie would star Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. And I saw a lot of angry TikToks, whatever, saying that, oh, Jacob Elordi, that's such a missed opportunity when that could have been a man of color. And that kind of got my attention because I was like, wow, a gothic classic novel where the love interest guy is a man of color. I'm surprised, I've never heard of that. That sounds actually super cool. I wouldn't expect that. So it got me curious, and I picked it up, and So here's what the story is about. It's the late 1800s, England, in the country. And there's this beautiful estate. Their nearest neighbors are miles away. And in this estate lives a mom, a dad, their son Hindley, their daughter Catherine, and their nanny. They also have a butler guy. Now, this family is quite dysfunctional. But when the children are young, one day the dad leaves and he goes on some sort of trip. He comes back and he's brought a boy. They really have no idea where he got this boy, who this boy is. But this boy's name is Heathcliff. And he and Kathy are the same age. They're best friends. Can you guess what happens next? So many lines left me tearing up. It was so beautiful, and I was completely in awe at Emily Bronte's writing. Even more so when I remember the fact that Emily Bronte was unmarried and she died super young. So that truly breaks my heart. But it also kind of makes me think that, wow, I wonder if some of her absolutely devastating romantic lines were inspired by, like, you know, they're about like loving someone so much. Like one of the most iconic lines, whatever souls are made out of, his and mine are made of the same stuff. That's one of the iconic ones. Or another line, like, haunt me, but do not go into that dark abyss where I cannot follow you. You know, that kind of beautiful, beautiful depiction of love. It just got me thinking that I bet Emily was maybe inspired by, like, the love she had for her sisters. You know, it's still that, like, deep, beautiful love, but, you know, even if she doesn't have romance in her life, like, she is still able to write such incredible romance based on her own experiences that she does have with love. And yeah, I just think it was a fantastic read. So much fun. And I hope they recast before that movie comes out. Yes, thank you so much for watching, and look forward to my next video, which is probably going to be super soon. And comment down below, have you read any of these books? / what was your favorite book that you read in 2024? I would love to know. So thank you for watching.